Hello, I'm Chris. Welcome to my basement gym again. This is Stretch and Relax this morning. So find yourself some comfy clothes. Feel free to leave your shoes on or take them off if you like to wiggle your toes. I'm going to have mine on today. It's still a little chilly in my basement and I'm going to be comfy. So it's all about finding that comfortable clothing that you want to wear that day. So it doesn't need to be fashionable, it just needs to be comfy. So blocks we're going to use today, straps. I'm also going to use a pillow. So that's just in addition to a block. Okay, so don't worry if you don't have a block. Pillows are just great, but blocks can be great because of the size, the firmness of them. But for what we're going to use today, I am going to ask that you grab a pillow, okay? Eventually we're going to place it just right underneath our back and our shoulder blades while we're laying down. We're just going to open up and try and stretch out those pec muscles, okay? Because with a lot of what we do, this kind of, if you ever notice, this can be our posture. Shoulders rounded, internally rotated. The butt is sticking out, the belly is relaxed instead of being here. And this takes stretch and takes practice. So having a pillow, doing a little stretching, we're going to give those shoulders just a little bit of love today, okay? Let's start on our mats. Feel free to have your feet just underneath your hips. You don't need to have the big toes touching or the heels just perfectly square unless you really like to do that. So find what feels good for you. Again, like I always say, there's no right, no wrong, just different, okay? We'll all get to the same destination at the end, all right? So standing on our mats, feet comfortable distance underneath us. Let's find that center of balance, that little forward back body weight shift, letting ourselves settle into our heels. Good. Our big toes are Velcro down. We still have weight in our front of our foot, but we're a little bit more in our heels. Now, let's take our hands right on our hips. We're going to push our glutes back, and I'll take the glutes, tuck them under. Rotate those thigh bones open, okay? So tushy sticks out, hips tip forward. Now we're going to tip the hips under and rotate those thigh bones. So just try this a couple times. All right. I know I always go right into tucking that tailbone under, but sometimes we just need to find what is that position? What is it like to tuck the tailbone under? All right. So really tuck it under, relax. One last time. Tuck it under, pause right there. Allow the tailbone to try and point straight down. So it takes our belly from being relaxed and protruding and our low back really concave, making a shelf, to taking that shelf away. And our belly muscles are lightly engaged. So I'm not holding my breath, holding my belly muscles in. It's just tilt to the tailbone. You can feel the tension coming back into our abdominals instead of the weakness and sagging forward. It's tension and uplifting. Good. From here, we'll lift our sternums up to our nose, taking our shoulder blades from this rounded position. Just by lifting our sternums up, get those shoulders back and hugging the shoulder blades together. I apologize if you hear like thunder. That's 2 German shepherds playing right above us. Good. Ears over our shoulders. Shoulders rolled back, shoulder blades pulled down. Belly muscles are lightly engaged and our tailbone is pointed towards the ground instead of straight behind us. Our weight is more in our heels than it is in our toes. Good. Mountain pose. This posture seems weird, it may seem tight, it may seem awkward. It's just because we're used to just allowing gravity to pull us how we see, or how it sees fit. And this is just us correcting that so we get proper balance of weight on our frontal plane and on our posterior. Setting the spine up in a healthy position so it can take that load safely and feel good for a long time. This is something definitely to practice to help reduce neck strain, shoulder, low back, knee pain. So practice this throughout the day. If you're standing someplace, try to bring yourself into this nice plumb line, this nice mountain pose. Let's take a breath in. Inhale. Make the belly expand. Make the ribs expand. And exhale it. If you'd like, close your eyes. You do not have to. I'm going to close my eyes. Bring focus and awareness to my breathing. Pushing out all those external thoughts for the day. All those to-do lists, work, home, everything. Releasing all the tension with each exhalation. Allow a smile to creep onto your face. It doesn't need to be a big grin. Just smile a little bit. You'd be amazed about the energy change, the attitude change you can have with just the tiniest little smile. If you had your eyes closed, feel free to open them. Let's take a big inhale together. Lift up. And reaching towards the right, pushing our hips to the left. Exhale. Inhale, center. And exhale, reaching to the left, pressing the hips to the right. And center. Inhale, forward fold. Bringing our hands to our shins, let's round up one vertebrae at a time. Bringing our head up last. Let's do that a few times. Inhale, lift. Exhale, reach. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, center. Fold. Rounding up one vertebrae at a time. Always do this again. Inhale. Exhale, reach. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, center. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rounding up. And exhale, lifting our head. One last time. Forward fold. And rounding up one vertebrae at a time. And lifting our head last. Good. Let's look over our right shoulder and left shoulder. Two more times. Right and left. Last one. Right and left. As we come center, let's pour water out of our right ear. And center. And left. And center. One more time each side. Good. And dropping the chin, pivoting at our ears. And lift. As we lift our chin, let your mouth open. One more time. Drop the chin. And lifting our chin. Stay here. Now close your mouth. And release. It's kind of weird. When you lift your chin, the tension in your neck muscles pull your mouth open. But then when you shut, you feel that wonderful tension right through the muscles, right through the front. Let's do the same thing for our side. Let's pour water out of our right ear. Keep the shoulder back and relaxed, not letting it turn inward. Pretend like we're holding on to something heavy in our left hand. Let's take our right hand, wrap it around, let it rest on the side of our head. Not pulling, it's just the weight of my hand. We have a heavy dumbbell, heavy bag of groceries. And releasing and changing sides. Again, pouring water out of our left ear. Got something heavy in our right hand, pulling that shoulder down. Let's wrap our left hand around, letting it rest by our ear. It's just the weight of our hand. Let the breath go to the tension within the neck and shoulders. Heavy hand. Just hanging on to something heavy. And releasing the hand from our neck. Good. Let's go ahead and come to a seated position. Find a comfortable spot. Now, if you'd like, have a seat with your block. You can have a seat on your pillow. Try to sit on the front edge of that block if you have one. And just cross your legs comfortably. They could be out here, they could be close in. You can line up heel to heel. We're just gonna sit comfortable. Hands on our knees. Good. Lifting our sternum, shoulders roll back and down. Good. Coming into easy seated twist. Let's place our right hand on the floor. Left hand comes outside the knee. And just slowly, one vertebrae at a time, taking our time. Try not to rush into this. Sometimes we just want to crank into the stretch. I want us to feel the little changes within our vertebrae. So we just slowly, shoulders come around, and finally our head comes around. Pausing here. Feeling like our spine is like a spiral staircase. Twisting, turning, lifting upwards. Good. Breathing into the tension. And let's release. I'm going to kick off my shoes. Finally a little warm. Yay. Same for you. If mid-class you start to get a little warm, take that moment. Always pause. You can always whip off that jacket or throw those shoes off to the side. Let's go to the same side once more, okay? So easy seated twist, inhale. And as we exhale, start at the waist. Let it creep up the spine. Keep the head and shoulders where they're at. And now allow the shoulders to move a little bit more. And then finally our head turns. So make that change incremental. Let it creep up the spine. Breathing into the tension that we have. Good. Inhale. And exhaling as we release. We'll do the same thing for our left here. So again, don't just buzz into it as quickly as you can. Please be patient with it. Start with the waist. Rotate the waist around. And when the waist stops, the shoulders turn a little bit. And when the shoulders stop, then our head turns. Breathing into that tension. Shoulders down and relaxed, knees relaxed and open. Again, think of our spine like a spiral staircase. Twisting, lifting upward. Wring out that spine. Inhale. And exhale, releasing. And we'll do it one more time. Again, work on that slow rotation. Make the waist do it all first, and then when it stops, bring it up into our shoulders. And when it stops, let the head turn. Inhale. Exhale, make the waist turn. And then the shoulders. And then the head. Keeping the hips level on the block, not letting that right hip lift. Breathe. Inhale. Exhale, releasing. Let's change what foot's in front. Again, crisscross, feet out. Typical yoga, heels lined up. What feels good for you? No right, no wrong, just different. Start with that rotation to the right. Again, let your gaze start with me. Watch me. Let the waist turn. Let the shoulders turn. And then the head will turn. Breathe. This will feel a little different just because the hips do play a part in our rotation. And one foot crossed in front of the other and a switch can bring on a different sensation. Let's relax, come back to the front. Prepare to do this one more time. Spinning a little bit on rotation, just because that could be a big foundation in lower back, shoulder issues. We want to make sure that we get rid of some tightness and tension. It just feels so good. Breathing through that tension. Inhale. Exhale, releasing. Inhale. And exhale, starting at the waist, then the shoulders, then the hips. Inhale and exhale, releasing. Good. Hope that felt good. We're going to come off of our blocks. Have a seat. I'm sorry, not have a seat, but let's come to hands and knees. And again, feel free to make a wrinkle in the mat. If you got a hard floor, you want to protect your knees. All that is just a little lift and a little fold. I've domed up my mats so I have some cushion there. So there's lots of ways to kind of get around having a very hard floor, whether it be hardwood or cement like I have for my basement floor. We want to make sure our knees feel good. Let's tuck our toes under for this part, okay? All I want us to do is take our right leg out and push back into it. Oops, I'm sliding off the mat. I'm losing my grip. There we go. Just kind of push the heel back. And then changing sides. Let's place our left foot back. Toes dig in as we gently press the heel back. Wonderful stretch for our calves. And come back. Toes dig in and just push the heel back. If you'd like to deepen this, you can come up, hips up, and lower down to switch sides. So you have two options so far. It's kind of like I'm in a starting block. And one more time each side. Just a little dessert for those calves. One more time. have a seat on our heels. If this feels comfortable, if this feels uncomfortable, feel free to take that block. You can put it between the hips and the heels, or a pillow between your hips and your heels. Just want us to sit here for just a moment. This is diamond pose. It's just a little bit of a stretch just for the quads, our hips. If you're able to sit down, take your calf muscles, kind of roll them out, allowing yourself to sit back just a little bit more. And let's take our feet out in front. Let's allow the backs of our legs to be actively pressed into the floor. So we walk our fingertips down, hinging at our hip joints, not rounding at our waist. So this is going to be a smaller range of motion for some. Right here is perfect for me. So that wonderful tension in the back of my legs. If I went any further, I would start to round at my waist. So I want to make this a hinge at the hip joint, reaching the sternum towards our big toe. Hands resting on our thighs or resting on our shins. Pulling the feet back. Good, let's relax. Curl those toes like you want to pick something up. And now flex the toes. Let's curl those toes under. And flex those toes. One more time, curl. And flex. Let's do a little stretch for the chest. Walking our hands back, leaning back slightly so that way our hands are directly underneath our shoulders. Fingertips point forward or slightly open, or you can even go onto your knuckles if that feels a little bit better. All I'd love for us to do is point those toes nice and long. Hollow out through the belly muscles and then push our sternum up towards the ceiling, up towards our nose. Hugging the shoulder blades together. Feeling a wonderful stretch right through our chest. Breathe. Hollow out through the belly. Don't let the belly stick out. This isn't about an arcing of the spine, so pull the belly down. Push through the floor. Good. Let's relax, walking ourselves up and in. Let's grab that pillow that I said earlier we would use. I'd like it if we could place that pillow right underneath our back and rolling on down. Let's allow the head to be off the pillow. Have the pillow just a little under the shoulders so we have some movement. Again, stretch out our legs, or if it feels better for your low back, bring the legs in, pigeon toe the feet, and allow the knees to drift towards one another. That reduces some strain on that low back. This is where I'll hang out. So you have two options, legs out or legs in. Let's start with just putting the arms out like a letter T. And I want us to lift our sternums up towards our nose while pulling the belly button down. And just breathe, relax here for just a minute. Bring the shoulder blades a little closer together, like you want to hug the pillow with your back. What works really great with this is if you have a foam roller at home, lay on the foam roller, or if you have a bolster pillow, lay on the bolster pillow or roll up a pillow where you can lay it along your spine. And then just passively let gravity take over, putting your arms out like a letter T and feeling a wonderful stretch from your upper arm into the shoulder, into the pec. This is something I would love to try and get everyone to do on a daily basis. This nice passiveness of the stretch. just allows your body to release and relax and stretch at its own pace. Little risk of injury from just passively letting gravity do this. If you are so tight that this feels very uncomfortable, it tends to pull you and hollow out your chest instead of allowing you to lift, breathe, and expand from your chest. Go from this 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock position to maybe down here to an 8 and 4. Might feel a little bit easier for you that you can manage. Another thing you can do is maybe even just take the pillow out, and laying at 9 to 3 can be just enough to give you that benefit of the stretch. So please find what feels good for you. All we want to do is just have straight elbows, not locked out. We just don't want to bend and let this be passive. Have energy reaching out through your fingertips. And then allow gravity to do the rest. So this is something I would love to see you do on a daily basis. It's similar to people just getting into a door frame and stretching. But this allows you to be in a great posture. Excuse me. It allows it to be just a passive stretch. We're not cranking into it. We have the floor supporting our hands. Good. Let's bring our hands in. And we're going to extend our arms overhead, thumbs pointing to the floor. Now as we do this, try not to let the ribs flare up, lifting up. We want to stitch our ribs down. Now with me, one hand, the thumb touches the floor. My other hand, my thumb won't touch the floor unless I bend my elbow. So keep that elbow straight. Let gravity help. Now just a little baby lift. What I want us to do is imagine we want to bring our arms down forcefully like this. But don't forcefully do it. Just think about the muscles involved in doing that and just do a little baby lift. A little squeeze. And now relax. Let the thumb tips go back to touching the floor. And again, this one to me is still in space. That just means I'm still tight here. This is my latest arm that had rotator cuff surgery a few years ago, so I still have residual tightness that I'm working on. And then again, just that baby lift. Like we want to bring our arms in a full arc down to the floor. A lift, squeezing of the muscles under our armpits, and then releasing. We can almost touch that floor now. We're going to do that one more time. Again, use the muscles under your armpits, pull the thumbs away from the floors, and relax. Almost there. Let's turn our palms to the ceiling. And just like we do with moonflower squats, let's slide the elbows down and slide them up. See if the backs of our fingertips can touch the floor. Don't worry if they can't. As you can see, this arm, it does not, but my other arm, it does. That's just my body telling me I have a little bit more mobility on one shoulder than the other. And I need to work on that. One more time, sliding down and extending. Good. Let's bring those arms down. We'll prop up to one side, taking away our pillow and grabbing our straps. Let's uncurl down to the floor. Let's extend one leg. We're going to point that toe and lift, flex the foot and lower. Pointing their toe and lift, and flexing as we lower. 2 more times. point, and flex. One last time, point, and flex. Good. Let's bring in the leg, taking our strap or our towel or even a belt. Let's put it across the ball of the foot. Try not to get down in the arch. We want it up here by the ball of our foot. Good. Now let's bring the leg into our chest, bending the knee, and now pushing away. Bring in and push. Bring in and let's hold our push. The leg is straight. We feel tension on the back side of the leg from the hamstring. And then just gently draw the foot in a little bit closer. Knee comes a little bit closer. Knee is straight. Gentle tension. We can feel that blossom. Relax the low back. Relax the foot on the floor. Breathe. And now one more time, just a little bit in. That's it right there. Good. Keeping that tension, let's sneak our other leg out. Allowing the heel and the calf to remain in contact with the floor. If that means this foot needs to come away a little bit, that's all right. Now from here, we're just going to do a little bit of movement. Let's take the strap in the opposite hand. We're going to draw the foot just over the hip. Notice this hip isn't lifting. And now switching back, arm in a T, and we're going to open up towards me without tipping the hip. When the hip tips, stop. And then come back. And this time we're going to go a little bit more. Hip lifts just a tiny, and then come back, and then open. Still having tension on the strap. And coming across a little bit more. Our hips lift a little bit more. And open. Now coming across fully for ourselves, we may roll onto the other hip. Our ribs stay down. We're not arcing that spine. Let's pause here for 3 breaths. Pushing out through the heel. Still tension on the strap. And now bringing our leg back center. We're going to open up fully to the side. Tension still on our strap. Breathe. Try not to roll over. Keep the opposite hip anchored. And then drawing the leg center. Let's bring in our knee. We're going to lower our leg, pointing that toe. And changing sides. Let's start with our leg lifts. We're going to point as we lift and flex as we lower. Point as we lift and flex. 2 more times. Oh, excuse me. And now bringing the strap across the ball of our foot, knee into our chest as we press away and draw in, press, draw in. 2 more times. Last one, press and draw in. This time let's lay that press out. Our knee is straight, our foot is flexed. Feel that wonderful blossom of tension on the back side of our leg. Now if we want, we can draw that leg in a little bit closer. Try not to draw in that you have to push on the floor and lift your glutes. This leg is soft and passive. Our tailbone is down. Just wonderful tension on the back side of our leg. Let's keep that tension as we sneak our leg out, bringing the calf and heel in contact with the floor. And then if that means this leg comes away a little bit, that's fine, it's okay. Let's take the straps into the opposite hand. Arm out to a T. Just bring the foot over the opposite hip. We're going to feel that delicious stretch on the outside of our hip. And now switching. Opening up to the side. Just a little bit. And using our thigh muscles to pull them back in. Changing sides. This time reaching just a little bit past our hip. And open. And again. Reach. And open. This is it. Come across as comfortable as you like, reaching the heel towards me. Breathe. Keeping the ribs down, that wonderful tension within our hips. Inhale, and exhale back to center. As we go to the other side. Opening up, foot is flexed. Keep this hip heavy, okay? Tension still on our strap. And drawing your leg back in. Let's bring our foot in. As we release our foot, let's point our toes, bring those toes down. And a big stretch. Good. Let's take the feet in. Feet as wide as our mats. Arms comfortable by our sides as we just do some windshield wipers. Good reward for our lower back and our hips. Just do 2 more. Then back center, let's draw the knees into our chest. Remember, you can have your hands over the knees, or if it feels better, go under and just draw in and release. Draw the knees in, cradle rocking, side to side, starting with our knees high on our chest. And releasing. Good. One final stretch. Let's do a figure 4. Let's cross one ankle on top of the knee. Bringing that knee in towards our chest. You can grab behind the leg. Me, I feel better because I'm kind of tight. I support and offer support. And that's how I feel that wonderful stretch in the back side of my hip. Breathe. Both feet are flexed, knees bent. Drawing in. Changing sides. Go on top of the knee. Draw the knee to the chest again. You can come behind here. Me, I find it better just giving that support. I feel that wonderful stretch within my hip. Again, I'm super, super tight today. So this is how I'm modifying for myself. Let's slowly release. Extending out our legs. Let's point our toes, okay? Give a real strong point. I'm thinking my feet are out of your line of view, but arms overhead, big stretch. Let the ribs flare. No rules here. You think I didn't have a good night's sleep? Oh, and hug in nice and tight. And relax. I hope you enjoyed today. Hope it gave you a little bit of a stretch, a little bit of a relax, a little bit of a centering and calmness. That's the biggest thing. Stretching's important, but mental health is right up there with it. So take care of yourself, take care of those around you, and I'll see you next week. Have a great one. Thank you.